Good morning. Great excitement here on North Terrace. Thousands of people have been queuing here since early this morning. Adults and kids alike waiting to get there or wanting to get a great vantage point for what is going to be a magic celebration. 75 years of magic. The Credit Union Christmas Pageant.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the 75th anniversary of the Credit Union Christmas Pageant. And joining us up in the commentary box today is someone who's been a clown many times out there on the road doing the pageant. He's actually still a clown, don't get me wrong, but he's in the commentary box today. Welcome, Kim.
Thank you, Georgie. Good morning to you. Yes, and my thoughts are with the 164 or 170 clowns that are out there today, because we're expecting temperatures of around 30 degrees. So it's fun, but it's hard work and very warm today. But I thoroughly enjoyed being a clown, but I'm looking forward to this afternoon. We've got a beautiful vantage point here on North Terrace, and it brings back a lot of memories looking at all the little kiddies here, Georgie, when I was about 5 or 6, and I actually stepped over the blue honour line.
Oh, did you?
Yes, and I was picked up by a clown and placed back over the line. I thought, trouble, I'm in trouble, but it ended up okay. And I've just caught a glimpse of them. I think I remember as a little tacker, Georgie, the excitement levels would run amok when I would see the police greys, because that signalled the start of the parade.
They've always been up the first. They're a great tradition and a real favourite with the whole community, I think, because for that very reason, they always kick off the pageant. They're a real spectacle in themselves.
Now, Georgie, a question without notice. How fast do you think those greys are moving at the moment?
5 kilometres an hour?
No,
6?
not quite. Not a bad guess. I found this a very interesting statistic. Now, the fast walking pace is 3.9 kilometres per hour. And the slow walking pace is 3.7. Now, what do you think they're doing at the moment?
Do you know, I don't know if I can spot the difference. I'll take a punt. I think they're going slow.
You're correct. Of course, we're very lucky and fortunate to have the greys here today, given the problems that we've had with the equine flu for horses. So it's great to see them back working.
It is, and I can see a couple of clowns already making an appearance right behind them, heralding the start of the pageant. There we are, the 2007 Christmas pageant underway right here on North Terrace.
And this is hats off to 75 years of magic. It is our lead float for 2007. 75 tappers in black and white. And of course, George, that was the colour that photos and films were back in 1933. Hats off to 75 years of magic is followed by the band of the South Australian Police, and they formed back in 1884, and can I say, Georgina, they are aging wonderfully well.
I'm sure they're not quite that old, but yes, I take your point. They're looking pretty hot today.
I was just thinking, Georgie, when we saw our tappers go past, they are tapping for 3.5 kilometres.
It's a big effort, isn't it? All the way through the inner city. Coming up behind are the young Adelaide Voices. They're the last of the first 4 sets, which will open the 75 Years of Magic celebration. So very special this year, of course. And altogether, this demonstration covers 100 metres. It takes that long to go past. We've got the ringing in the spirit of Christmas, the live bell recordings from Adelaide cathedrals and churches around town, and really soaking up that spirit of Christmas, bringing us those first carols that we hear. Even though it's still 6 weeks away, it's nice to hear those carols back being played.
And accompanied by the Australian drill team, choreographed by Lynn Faruto.
Oh, no, that's what you used to do, Kim. We used to laugh at you this time last year. You were doing idiotic things just like those blokes.
I used to enjoy taking the hula hoops. You could do a lot with those. They were great props.
Gosh, isn't that a sign of an Aussie icon, the old mower ready to work, them sprinklers ready to water the cricket pitch? It's a shame that's not real water. I think a lot of the kids in the crowd would like a bit of a sprinkle to cool them down.
And talking of the cricket, here's a new float. Come on, Aussie, come on.
I don't think they look quite as sharp as Aussie Test team up at the game, but do you think?
No, they were looking very good. Of course, centuries to Phil Jakes, Michael Hussey and Michael Clark.
And there's a scoreboard for you. The Outback Scrubbers versus the Bush Band All-Stars. Who's winning there? The All-Stars.
In the green. She's taken wickets. Oh, she's clearing pickets. When the Chapel's eyes have got
Behind the stumps is actually Ricky Ponding, and batting is Buff Wombat. So they've remembered some of our big real names.
Buff Wombat. I'm sure Darren Lehman would be pleased about that.
Training all the winter, and there's not a team that's fitter. And that's the way it's gotta be. Gillies pounding down like a machine. Pascoe's making pivots in the green. She's taking wickets. Oh, she's clearing pickets. When the Chapel's eyes have got that killer gleam. Come on, Aussie, come on.
And of course, some great South Australians mentioned in that song. The late and great David Hooks, and of course the Chapel Brothers.
Every pageant is earmarked, I guess, by the performance of so many bands. They really bring a lot of music and colour to the pageant. This is the Tea Tree Gully Redbacks. They've been in the pageant for a few years now and released their first CD last year. In fact, they performed quite a lot during the year at corporate functions, and we're very lucky to have them with us today.
They're also joined, Georgie, by the Banksia Park Concert Bands program, and they're joined by members from the Calisthenics Association. And I'll say it once again, dancing and performing like that for 3.5 Ks. Here's a favourite, Rapunzel.
Running her own hairdressing salon. But I think if you look closely, you'll see that the Prince has actually come to visit her, and he's got his foot stuck. There we are. He's got his foot stuck on bubble gum that's in her hair. That is going to be a really sticky problem. Coming up next, the Patchwork Christmas Cats. And cats and kittens are always naughty, and they're especially naughty at Christmas time with the Christmas trees, knocking all the baubles off the trees. Today they're celebrating Christmas with Puss in Boots, who's a big favourite with big kids and little kids, I think.
And of course that highlights once again the magnificent work of the 90 makeup artists who were here at the ungodly hour of, I think, around 4:30 or 5 this morning to get everyone prepared for this magnificent event.
I like the laid-back position Puss in Boots has got. He's very relaxed, very chilled out, Puss in Boots. Sitting back and soaking up the atmosphere. He doesn't look like he's fussed about too much at all, really.
There's a funny story to this float too. The princess fell in love with the Marquis of Carabas, not because he was handsome, but because she loved his cat, Meow.
Well, that's okay. I haven't got a problem with that. There's clowning Clary in his top hat. This is just one of the mini sets that are incorporated in the pageant. You sort of see them every few floats. A mini set comes along. Now, Clary's 2.5 metres in length. He's actually the tallest clown in the parade, and even though he's mini, he's immensely popular. great float, Studio 75. This is one of the new additions to the pageant. Every year we see some new floats come. This is one of them. And it's just sort of set up like a film set with the director, the camera crew, the sound engineers. And you can see that it's perhaps not a set that would be entirely functional in the real world, but it's very effective today.
Now, I've heard of super screens, but that's ridiculous. The Adelaide Irish Pipes and Drums, another pipe band with a strong history in Adelaide, and they're wearing the McNeil of Colonsay tartan kilt. Now we're on to our 16th float, Georgina, and this is a very special one. Now, there's someone on that float that you should recognise. It's the Queen of Fairies.
And a very welcome addition to our news team here in Adelaide, our new weekday newsreader, Kelly Nestor, is in there somewhere. There she is. She is having a ball. You can tell, can't you? She must be loving this. What a fantastic viewpoint she's got. There we are, waving to her. She is having a fabulous time. She might have a sore arm from waving at the end of this, though. That's 3 kilometres of a heavy-duty waving.
And we had the Channel 9 Christmas party last night. I was sitting down with Kel. She was very concerned about standing up and not falling off the float. But as you can see, she is supported there and secured by a harness.
She's done well. And, you know, here comes another Channel 9 favourite, Humphrey. He's been in the pageant for a few years now. And we love seeing him up there, holding on tight, raised above the crowd. And no matter where Humphrey turns up around Adelaide, he's always a favourite, just as he is today.
Doesn't have a lot to say, but always attracts everyone's attention.
Today he's directing as opposed to being in front of the camera. He's kind of considering himself behind the camera, directing the Nutcracker, very famous Christmas ballet with the Australian Classical Youth Ballet taking part. He's doing quite a good job there, Humphrey.
Now, this is the birth of the butterfly. The birth of the butterfly is an old story like the ugly duckling. You'd like this one, Georgina. Each year, the little grubs wait their turn to grow into a beautiful butterfly, like that magnificent butterfly flying over the forest of singing and chirping birds.
You wouldn't want to be a grub in this float, though, would you? The grubs are looking a bit ordinary. You'd really want to have a good spot as the butterfly. But I think the grubs, they've all got smiles on their faces, so that's the main thing.
We can hear a little bit more cheering, and this is why. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, one of the true favourites.
And this is where the pageant's really good at incorporating a lot of the old fairy tales and nursery rhyme stories. And Snow White often kicks off this segment of the pageant. I'm sure we'll recognise all the dwarves there. Dot, Grumpy, Sleepy, Dopey, Sneezy, Happy and Bashful. What one of them would you have played, Kim, do you think, if you were one of the dwarves down there today?
Fair chance it would be Dopey, Georgie. I know that's what you're thinking, so I think I'll say it. Interesting, Snow White has the apple in her hand. Now, that's meant to be poisoned, isn't it?
That is meant to be poisoned. She takes a bite out of it and she sleeps for, I think, 100 years, doesn't she, before Prince Charming comes along?
Don't bite it.
Another fabulous, famous fairy tale character, Alice in Wonderland. And, of course, all the crazy characters that come with that story. You'll see at the front there's Tweedledee and Tweedledum. There's the Mad Hatter looking suitably mad, the March Hare. I think if you look closely, you'll see the Dormouse. I can see the March Hare right up the front.
And the Cheshire Cat.
Cheshire Cat with a grin on his face as usual.
And characters from that set will go to the Women's and Children's Hospital after the pageant to visit the children who couldn't make it here today. So congratulations to everyone involved in Alice in Wonderland.
Let's take some time out to listen to the tunes of the Unley Concert Band. Kingsley's vintage cars. They haven't been in the pageant for too long, but for many years, if you live out in the eastern suburbs, you would have seen them around Tusmore Park. They were built by Kingsley Savage, and he became known as the Pied Piper of Tusmore. There are 6 cars, colour-coded, of course. You know, an old Renault, an old Baker Electric, a Dennis fire engine, and a T-Ford pickup are amongst there. And sadly, Kingsley passed away 3 years ago, but his family donated the cars to the pageant. So a wonderful memorial for a very caring man and very important in our community.
We had the young artists here, Colour My World. Now, this is the work of internationally acclaimed artist David Bromley, who thoroughly enjoyed his participation in creating this float for the Credit Union Christmas pageant a few years ago. And David's art explores the world of children.
Apparently, despite all the international acclaim David has received, he was really tickled pink when the pageant asked him to create his own float. And with little kids of his own, he really readily grabbed the chance. And it's becoming a favourite float, I think, amongst lots of kids and also the mums and dads.
The London bus, consider yourself at home. It's an authentic 1946 London bus filled with credit union competition winners, lucky enough to have a free ride in the pageant, purchased for the pageant in 1973. And that will be a lifetime memory for the youngsters in that double-decker bus. That young fella, Georgie, at the front, well, he's got pole position.
Yes. And along comes McDougall, the detectives. Now, McDougall's been around for a while. I don't know how he goes at this because he's actually meant to be the pageant head of security. He's on the job as usual, but he's always distracted by whatever is in the rubbish bin behind him, which looks awfully like some sort of cat burglar. And McDougall's blissfully unaware, of course.
Yes, and it looks like he's broken into the Adelaide market again, with every sort of cheese imaginable can be found there. It's hard not to think of Peter Sellers when you hear this music.
It is Inspector Clouseau. And the old pageant tram, which looks like a scaled-down mini version of the trams that used to run in Adelaide from the city down to Glenelg. And, of course, this year we have very modern, high-tech trams, but this is a blast from the past, showing what it would be like to have a lovely day trip to the bay on the tram.
And it's jam-packed with winners from competitions run by Mix 102.3 in the lead up to the pageant. Mr. Owley's school, the School of Rock.
Just check some of the sums on the blackboard though, Kim. They look right. Often they're not right. Let's see if we can pick one up that they're usually a bit dodgy. Hang on, what have we got there? No,
That one's incorrect.
one's wrong, yep. That's definitely wrong.
See, the pageant is not just fun, it's educational.
Come the Billy Hyde Raiders drum corps with the Mighty Good Productions MG Funk, just to get the crowd bopping away with all that drum beat. The They've been playing like that for 3Ks now, as Kim's reminded us. It's a lot of drum playing, isn't it, to get to this point?
It certainly is. And the thing is, Georgie, when I was a clown for so many years, it's 3.5 kilometres, or kilometres, sorry. And but you do so much more because you get caught up in the atmosphere and you just want to touch and reach out to every person that's sitting there. So you zigzag back and forth, you're bending down. It is tremendous fun, but quite exhausting.
Quite exhausting. Bringing up the rear is Toby, the toy truck. Now these must almost be the best seats in the house. Have a look at these little guys driving the truck. You couldn't have a better spot. They're under the shade, they're waving furiously.
Yes, and no one has their hands on the wheel, George.
No,
that's a concern.
That is a bit of a worry.
Certainly a favourite with the children, that one. Now, Georgie, can I ask you, when you receive a Christmas present, what do you like with the wrapping?
I scrunch it up.
You don't meticulously remove the sticky tape?
Yeah, scrunch it up and rip it open.
Well, here's the Christmas wrapping. 2006 this came out. Different type of wrapping. And the young kiddies absolutely love these guys on the rollerblades.
Here's another one of our mini sets. This is Alfie, the long hot dog. And judging by how his tongue's almost hitting the pavement, Kim, I reckon he'd be looking for a bowl of water at the end of this pageant. Luckily, he's nearly there. Son, I know this is what the boys love. They all want to be that guy there wearing the helmet and about to blast off. This is the one that the big girls that love it, but this is the one that is a big favourite with the boys.
But not just for the 7-year-olds, it goes right through to the 70-year-olds. There are trekkers all around the world. Of course, to the tune of I Want That Man. Some scary eyes there. Hocus, the wonky wizard.
That Wonky touches is Jinx, so he's pretty ordinary at his craft. And if you look in the castle prison down below, you'll see some ugly little ghouls with arms that are just a bit too long and bottoms that, oh dear, no legs, bottoms that can hang onto the ground. There's all sorts of things happening on that float.
Yes, and Wonky spells are supposed to be armless. You got that wrong, because someone's got 6 arms there. Now this is Nasty Neville, the Pirate King, and I believe he broke down this morning. Flat tyre, managed to repair himself, and he's back in the parade.
Must have got some of those pirates to work to pump up his tyre. They don't look that scary, I don't think. They've certainly got their gold and their swords, and I'd hate to think what's in those buckets that they're waving around.
Georgina, do you know how many sleeps there are till Christmas?
Oh, gosh. Well, it's about 6 weeks, so 30-something. 30-something?
I was asking you.
I think, well, 6 weeks. I think there might be 45.
45 days?
45 slips till Christmas. I mean, ask any one of the children down there. I'm sure they'd be able to help us out. Busy compiling their Christmas lists.
And did you fall for that trick? Actually, it's not a trick. My mum and dad used to say to me, the sooner I close my eyes, the quicker it comes.
Same. I tell my children that all this time later. Then when you would have heard that, I still the same thing, and you know it works. So I think.
So I would go to the bathroom and I would be cleaning my teeth with my eyes closed, just so the morning would come quicker. Made a hell of a mess. Parade of flags, accompanied by the Adelaide 36ers and Lightning dancers. Of course, the Lightning doing okay. The Adelaide 36ers just struggling a little bit at this stage of the season. I'm sure the super coach Phil Smythe will turn that around. Fingers crossed. And the Parade of Flags celebrates the partnership between the Government of South Australia and the 6 naming rights, credit union sponsors, Savings and Loan, Australian Central, Community CPS, Police, Power State and Satisfac.
And they're all very important because we wouldn't have the pageant if it wasn't for the support of those major sponsors. This is the beginning of the Kaurna Country Christmas. Of course, the traditional landowners of Adelaide are the Kaurna people, and descendants of those people accompany one of the main animals of the region, of course, the kangaroo, which is a favourite to all the tourists that come to South Australia every year.
Well, the correct title, Georgina, I'm going to have a crack at this, is the Kaurna Yata Yit Yuko Wa Hinindo.
With apologies to anyone who was trying to understand what Kim was just saying. I think we'll call it the Kaurna Country Christmas, Kim, don't you?
Got me. Here's the jolly swag, man.
I think that's what everyone will feel like that's taken part in the pageant in about half an hour's time. Sitting back and with the feet up and having a good old nap.
Has anyone got a key? This guy looked me up. We just need a key, that's all. Has anyone got a key? Have you got a key? Is there a key?
I think he's asked 350,000 people that. How comfy does he look? The unofficial Australian anthem. And the Octopus's Garden, and of course one of my all-time favourite Beatles songs.
It's a great song, isn't it? Yeah, it's a great song, and really reminds us that the summer and the beach weather is right around the corner. You see the colours of the angelfish and relatives of Nemo, I guess, the orange and white fish, and the big purple octopus in charge right in the middle of the float.
And of course, Georgie, Christmas coincides with the holiday period for most people, so have a look around the float. There's a lot of holiday makers walking along, particularly the ones with the tiny cameras. And there's nothing that says holidays more than a floral shirt.
Doesn't it? All the men seem to bring them out every summer. The Bandicoot Boar Rock is following right behind. Let's have a listen.
And a song made famous by J.O.K., Johnny O'Keefe. And interesting, the executive manager of the Community CPS Australia, Daryl Bateman, was one of the guitarists on that float.
Ah, okay. This isn't Baywatch, this is Bay Botch Surf Club, so probably quite different from the TV series, just reminding us that we're in for a long, hot summer and slip, slop, slap with the shirt and the sunscreen. This mob of beachgoers certainly look like they know how to party.
And the good thing is, not a sign of David Hasselhoff eating a hamburger. never tire of hearing this type of music, the SA Pipes and Drums.
Okay, this is, I'm sure most little girls have been waiting for this one to come past, and so have I. Nipper and Nimble. First up, Nipper, who has been in the pageant since 1933. This year, the float is painted white. Let's all wave to a very lucky little girl, Abby Rutter, who is riding Nipper. Of course, on its way to the Magic Cave, where everyone else can have a ride in the 6-week lead up to Christmas, but she is one lucky little fairy today.
And what about the beautiful flower arrangements there? And that is thank you to the Woodville Academy of Floral Design. All the beautiful live flower arrangements in this year's pageant.
They're really spectacular, all those spring flowers out. And here comes Nimble. And a big, beautiful grey horse, which also is at the Magic Cave. And young Coco Patterson has been selected to take surely one of the top 3 spots, I reckon, in the pageant today, and surrounded by beautiful fairies. That is a spectacular float. Those flowers look amazing. And the pageant queen, here she comes. This is the last of the white floats. This one is with a diamond, also with flower arrangements to celebrate the 75th anniversary, which is celebrated, of course, with diamond white. And the pageant queen this year is Laura Williams. Laura would be having a fabulous day. She's from the Savings and Loan Credit Union, resplendent today in a gown of white. She is a very lucky lady. I don't think she's going to forget this day in a hurry.
And following her is the Royal Caledonian Society Pipes and Drums. And the Royal Caledonian Society Pipes and Drums were formed way back in 1894, so a great tradition there.
And I guess it's not just us humans that get into the spirit of Christmas. Monster families also get involved, and this is the Zorg family. You know, there's Zorg and Zabella and Zulma, of course, who's always wearing the latest fashion from her home planet. And oh, look at how cute is that little guy, the blue monster. His new sun hat on. He's even observing the slip, slop, slap rules.
It was a big old It was all in a
Bruto's right behind. I don't think he's that scary as a monster. He looks pretty friendly and cuddly to me, and anyone who visits Stardust Castle just loves to be nursed by Bruto. He is extremely big, and those guys have got very lucky positions there, sitting up being cuddled by him today.
Very hard to be scary when you're pink.
They are having fun, those guys.
Now, you would know this song, the push bike song.
Oh, this is an oldie.
And this is Pogo. Colouring the hair is fashionable, but Pogo is right into extreme hair colouring. I understand that is the bike he rode in South Australia's Tour Down Under last year. And even though he was running last, everyone could certainly see him coming.
You might need to upgrade to a slightly bigger bike, do you think, next year? He's only just fitting on that one.
Well, I rode the 130 or 40 Ks last year, and I was going about that pace.
You comes Boohoo the Jester. Now, the CEO of the Australian Central Credit Union is one of the jesters. How are we going to find him? I give up. I don't think he's that one, but he's running along around the ground somewhere. And there are actually over 370 bells on the close of the Jesters. I don't know if we can hear them ringing from up here. Let's have a listen.
And here's the snail train. A snail wearing makeup. I've seen everything now.
Well, it's a special day, and she's got to have a special look about her today, so I think she spent a fair bit of time before embarking on her snail trail today.
How do you know it's a female snail?
Well, I'm just guessing because she's got her makeup on.
Okay.
Just taking a random punt.
Good point.
But what I'm worried about is the snail repellent. Let's hope no one sprays that onto her because she's in big strife there. And there it is, the snail spray.
Well, let's hope she doesn't end up in a French restaurant.
Worms here? Look, worm, garden worms. Good for your garden.
The Scarecrow.
Scarecrow, not worried about those blackbirds this morning. He's too busy waving to all the boys and girls here in Adelaide who've come to see the Credit Union Christmas pageant. He looks far too friendly anyway, I think, to frighten away those blackbirds. But are they blackbirds? They're certainly not Adelaide crows. Maybe they're just normal crows.
When you were little, Georgina, were you allowed to stay up to watch the movie marathons with Deadly Ernest?
No, I never watched one. You must have.
You better turn away now. No, I was a wuss. I used to get too scared. This is 13 Ghastly Grove, and it's spooky.
There's the rat peeking through the top hole. He's got a very good spot there. He doesn't look slightly phased. And is that a spider or tree roots growing at the back of that house?
The Harndorf Town Band, they started back in 1926, so this year they celebrate their 80th anniversary. If you'd like to see them perform again, they're a part of the Harndorf Music Fest, which takes place every year.
I think Nellie is possibly the oldest float. She was retired for a few years back in the 80s and 90s, but after a refurbishment and a bit of a rest, Nellie is back with us. She's been back for the last few years, and she is an old favourite, Nellie. And coming right behind is Aladdin. I think most children here would know the story of Prince Ali and Aladdin there with the magic genie.
He may be responsible for conjuring up some of today's magic.
Starting with the weather. The weather is a part of it. Yes, well, that is a very, very long arm, isn't it, Kim? What else can you say about that? It's a very long arm.
St. George and the Dragon. Stands for courage, justice and peace.
Do you think he's smiling at us or not? I'm not quite sure if he's friendly. Back to our fairy tale component of the pageant today, and this is of course Cinderella wanting the ball to last forever. The clock is always ticking, just 1 minute to midnight.
And in the original Cinderella, bluebirds became coachmen and lizards turned into horses. But in later versions, mice became the horses. Our designer has borrowed from both stories. It's a great story, happy ending. Hey.
Very happy ending. Yep.
The Children of the Golden Palace. Now this pageant is about families. The King of Siam and his children join us in the pageant. There are more than 170 countries represented in our community in South Australia, all working together as a community.
And I guess it's that wonderful diversity of all those cultures which shape our community, and the pageant really does reflect that international flavour that is here in our state. Here comes a new float. This is very fashionable. Cupcakes are right in the spotlight at the moment, and this is a brand new float designed by St John's Grammar at Belair. This design actually won first place over 140 entrants in the Credit Union Christmas Pageant School Design a Float competition, which is a great idea. Cupcakes, of course, are trendy, and you can celebrate the party atmosphere today with cupcake kings, queens, fairies, and bakers. So well done to people at St John's Grammar Belair. That is a fantastic float.
If you keep a close eye at the back of the float there, you would have seen the baker. Now, this is the Ascot live music with the Pageant Jazz Band. Now, talking of keeping out a close eye, look at that gentleman there. That is Postcard's very own Keith Conlon, and he is appearing in his 40th Christmas pageant.
He is amazing. There he is. I can see him right up the top there, having the time of his life. He must love it to be doing this for the 40th time. What a fantastic moment for Keith heading down North Terrace on the Ascot Pageant Band.
And for those that aren't aware, Keith isn't making out he's playing those drums. He is incredibly musically talented.
He is. Yep, no, he's doing the real thing there. This has got the children, the very talented children from Sir Kids involved in this float, the Austin Carr Clown Capers. And it was founded, 20 years ago now, for disadvantaged young people in South Australia, encouraging people to use circus skills to teach social, physical and creative development. And lots of kids are involved in this program around Adelaide, and the clowns today are from the South Australian Tourism Commission, and they look like they're having a heap of fun.
And what a skill it is to walk 3.5 Ks on stilts.
Or doing that.
Standing on someone's shoulders.
No, there's a little girl with about 8 hula hoops that she's whizzing around her waist, and she's done that for 3 kilometres. Oh dear. Yes, that would be a long walk. That would feel longer than 3 kilometres, I think, in that position.
I'd like to think that maybe they change after 1.75 Ks.
Now, the pageant's all about colour and movement and participation, and swinging on a star encompasses all of those. With a pageant is a star, of course, in its own right, and Christmas celebrating the birth of a very important child when a strange new star appeared in the sky known as the Star of Bethlehem.
Candy Carnival. I'm salivating already.
This one makes you hungry, doesn't it? I think an old pageant float, but a fantastic one. It's so colourful, with the biggest lollipops you're ever likely to see.
Look at the big toffee apples. That reminds me of the Royal Show. Is your head spinning with excitement? Toy Top certainly is. And that is float 65.
There are clowns and fairies and unicorns, pixies and a jester or two, and toy soldiers, of course. And at the back are the big bob-ups. Why I call them bob-ups? Because every time they walk, well, they bob up.
Amazing display of colour as well.
Another London bus, a genuine bus coming along. This bus, of course, is full of children who won competitions run by the credit unions. And in keeping with this year's pageant theme, there is a heap of colour and movement in what is a bus that was originally shipped over from London. Time for another band, the Mitcham City Brass Band. 106 years old and still going strong.
Maximum effort for minimum return.
Now the nativity scene, which brings us back, I guess, to the true meaning of Christmas. The 3 live camels with 3 wise men, and the tableau of Bethlehem manger scene accompanied by the stirring sounds of the Hallelujah chorus. I think they're all, it's a big crowd, all waiting, of course, for Father Christmas, and he isn't that far away. So a few floats to go, some of the old favourites to go, and Father Christmas week turning around the corner into North Terrace very shortly. But before that, the Christmas swirlies are along. They were a new addition to the pageant from last year, and the swirlies are in Christmas colours designed especially for the pageant, part of the developing creative direction that this event is taking.
And of course, word is it could be a record crowd today, over 350,000 people. Now, we're positioned on North Terrace. The actual pageant started back on South Terrace, made its way down King William Road, then along the new route of Wakefield Street, then Pulteney Street, Grenfell Street, back onto King William Road, then on to North Terrace where we are now. Over 350,000 South Australian families.
Now we're really getting into that Christmas theme, and that's how we know that Father Christmas isn't far away. The Christmas Carol with the Australian Girls Choir, bringing out all of those carols and the songs that we sing around this time of year. Jingle Bell Rock, Christmas is here, deck the halls. It's a great tradition, and good to see both girls and boys choirs in the pageant again this year.
And as you mentioned, Georgina, Father Christmas not far away, and we will be crossing live to Alison Carl, who's at the Magic Cave out the front of David Jones shortly.
Ah, there's the pageant queen. They're ready and waiting, so that must mean that Father Christmas isn't far away, because they are at the front of the Magic Cave at David Jones. So he is coming up pretty soon, I think.
Anything is possible. Tootie now celebrating disability in our community. I've had a bit to do with Tootie, a wonderful organisation, wonderful group of people. On this float are members of the Tootie Ensemble, and the conductor is Pat Riggs.
Christmas wouldn't be Christmas without the clowns. There are actually 164 clowns in. Everyone is really, really excited and waiting with great anticipation. Christmas around the world is an extension of that theme of diversity in our community. The countries represented this year, it's an amazing list. There's Eritrean, Russian, Korean, Serbian, Estonian, Brazilian, Cook Islanders, and they're all carrying plaques with Merry Christmas written in their country's language.
And the float has the words love, tolerance and peace written on it in Chinese, Arabic, Greek, Spanish, Ghana and English, representing the world continents. And the band changes each year. This year we have Acoustic Juice entertaining us on the float.
This is actually the largest float or set, if you like, in the pageant. It stretches over 70 metres long and it has over 100 people involved.
Toyville trolley. This is a beauty. Lots of presents.
Don't you reckon all the children would be wanting that trolley to be delivered straight to their door?
Very
I think
much
that is
so.
a child's dream, that amount of presents. Now, these credit union pixies are going to the Women's and Children's Hospital today to visit the children who couldn't make it to the pageant. So if you're sitting in bed at the hospital, kids, you're going to have some fun very soon with a lot of pageant characters and presents coming your way.
And there's one of Father Christmas's helpers at the back of that float there, just resting.
It's probably had a very big day.
The clowns who do a wonderful job. And they'll work up a bit of a sweat today, but I can tell you that over 50 litres of washing liquid, 18 cans of starch, 6 bottles of bleach and 400 litres of distilled water are used just to make all those outfits nice and clean so they can be used again next year.
Imagine having that washing up job. I can hear the strains of another pipe band, and it's the Scotch College Adelaide and City of Elizabeth Pipe Band. These two bands have played together for several years now due to close cultural and family ties, which of course is what the pageant's all about. The Scotch College Band is actually our state's only school-based pipe band, and the City of Elizabeth Pipe Band is based in the northern suburbs and attracts many young musicians, and they come together, these two bands, this time of year every year.
Now, Rudolph is always looking for a new summer vacation location.
He is, because he's got a very busy and hectic week coming up pretty shortly, so he probably needs to recharge his batteries before he heads to the North Pole and starts helping Santa out.
Seems to be enjoying Adelaide at the moment. Now, Cosimo Koala, whilst being a native of Australia, loves Father Christmas that much that he visits him at the North Pole. He's actually accompanied him back to help Father Christmas on such a big occasion.
And he's looking very happy with himself, and those snowmen that are around him better hurry up and get a move on, because they're going to melt in this warm weather that we're experiencing today. Know that Santa's not far away when you start seeing these Christmas floats. This is the Christmas stocking with a cute little fairy there sitting at the bottom of the tree. It's always a special time when families put out their stockings on Christmas Eve, and that's the biggest stocking I've seen for a while indeed. It certainly means that Father Christmas is very close.
The Christmas tree. Father Christmas cannot be too far away.
There's Kim Siris from Channel 9, big show called Garden Gurus, and he's got a very responsible job there pulling along that Christmas tree, and he looks like he's driving it very well. His hands are a bit Not always on the steering wheel though, Kim, so hold on.
I think he's listening to you. And Georgina, what time would you rise on Christmas Day when you were a little girl?
5?
And where were the presents? Were they in the lounge room under the tree?
Exactly.
Did you ever have the stocking at the end of the bed?
Yes. Yep.
You were double dipping.
Well, why not? When you're little, you can.
It was the night before Christmas with the Adelaide Boys Choir.
Here comes Stardust Castle. All the helpers in their beautiful clothing and the beautiful Stardust Castle. Now, Father Christmas should be right behind. We can't quite see him in that shot, but usually Stardust Castle means that he is very close. So fingers crossed he's just around the corner. Now, can you see anything down there, Kim? Can you see any red?
I'm trying. I can see another band.
And that is the Australian Army Band. Some of the best musicians in Adelaide as an Army Reserve Band. They're a regular with the pageant, and they always, we love seeing them because it means that right behind them, Santa's there. We just need this clown to get out of the way, perhaps. He's in a very dangerous spot there.
He has the crowd right behind him, though. And the Australian Army Band was formed back in 1950. I think Father Christmas is getting very close. And he is certainly the highlight of the Christmas pageant.
He is, without a doubt, isn't he? We're all waiting to see him.
And so many of the 350,000 people here, particularly the ones that are right on the blue honour line, were down here at 5 or 6 this morning to gain that position.
And this is what they've been waiting for. It is all about this moment coming up. I think I'm seeing something down the distance there, Kim. Can you see it? Is that, I think that's his float coming up. He's almost here. This is the exciting moment, the moment we've all been waiting hours for.
Well, it is a big occasion. It's the first time Father Christmas has been here in 2007.
You are absolutely correct, Kim. And just heralding him in are the Cheryl Bradley dancers. They've got a long history with the pageant. Cheryl's grandma was a harlequin clown in 1933 and the 1934 pageants. And she has continued that tradition, and her dancers are celebrating 20 years with the pageant next year. The pageant has all sorts of landmarks and famous moments, and this is one of them. I'm hearing lots of yelling and lots of screaming. I think he is almost upon us, Father Christmas. There he is.
Oh, look at the reindeers. There's Dasher and Dancer.
Can you name them all, Kim?
Prancer.
Yep, keep going. You've got 5 more.
Cupid.
Yep.
And Blitzen. I can't remember the other 2.
There is also Comet and Donna.
Always forget Donna.
There they are. And there is Father Christmas waving to the crowd, and you can hear the children screaming from miles away. They are having a fantastic time. Father Christmas is looking fit and healthy. He's looking like he's ready for a big 6 weeks in the lead up to Christmas Day.
And the reindeers do a wonderful job. And if you have a really close look, you can see them moving their heads and actually winking at everyone in the crowd.
And now we're going to throw to Kelly Nestor, who's had a fantastic day, I'm sure. Kelly, where are you and how is the atmosphere? There she is.
I've flown in. Oh, my first pageant. Oh my God, it was absolutely fantastic. What was so lovely is to see all the faces of South Australia here today. 15 deep in some spots, so there was a lot of people. And I noticed lots of hats and lots of lovely, lovely smiles. But guess what? Guess what it means? I can't believe it. Santa is coming. So only a couple more sleeps until he's actually here for the real thing. But oh my God, he's just coming up the road there. So all my lovely fairy friends, I have to say thank you very much as well. They were all fantastic. We had a really lovely day. Now what we do now is we jump on some buses and we go back and take off our fairy costumes. But I don't know, I don't want to give up my wings. I want to keep them and my tiara, because it means I can be a princess all day, every day. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Oh, Kelly, you look like you have had the most fantastic time. Well done. And you are right down in the hub of where all the action is now. Almost time to cross to Ali, isn't it? See how she's going.
Well, of course, Ali is out the front of David Jones, which is out the front of the Magic Cave.
And a big crowd there.
Yes, massive. And, of course, that's where Santa is about to hop out of his sleigh. And it's 30 degrees, but look at the snow.
What a spectacular sight on North Terrace. This is the moment we have all been waiting for. He is back in town.
And the excitement on the young children's faces. They are seeing Santa for the first time in 2007. They are so close.
Yeah.
He's waving, he's blowing kisses.
Yep, he's finally here. It's been a long year if you're little, waiting for him to come back. And from today onwards, you'll be able to go and visit him in the Magic Cave, where he will be safely ensconced to take all those Christmas wish lists that children around town, I'm sure, are working on.
He's looking very fit and healthy.
He is.
He never ages. And someone else that never ages is our own Ali Carl, who's down there out the front of David Jones. What's it like down there, Ali?
Well, who said it cannot snow in Adelaide on a 30-degree day? Here comes Father Christmas. He is just about to set it up on the stage. And make sure you're listening to the wonderful Norwood Citadel Salvation Choir. Here they go, striking up Old Lang Syne, the same song that greeted Father Christmas when he first came here in 1933. Father Christmas is making his way along with the pageant queen. What a beautiful day and what a beautiful welcome from everybody here in Adelaide. And of course there is still 50 sleeps until he has to head back to the North Pole so he can start his rounds. So he's got a lot of work to do so far.
And dear ladies, Merry Christmas to you too. Very Merry Christmas. You were in the 1933. Well, thank you. Hello, Enid. Well, Yvonne, it was a very special time that I remember. You were riding Nipper. Yes, in 1933. That was so wonderful. It was special. It was wonderful, Yvonne. Yes, you are indeed. Thank you.
And hello, Father Christmas. Welcome to Adelaide. And Adelaide, he has done such a great job. How about we give Father Christmas a wonderful big welcome with 3 cheers. Hip hip! Hip hip! Hip hip! And Father Christmas, it must be wonderful to be back here in Adelaide.
It certainly is. It seems like only yesterday that I was here in Adelaide, South Australia, for the very first Children's Christmas Parade in 1933. And I wouldn't miss the Credit Union Christmas Pageant or visiting the Magic Cave. But I want you to remember what Christmas is all about. It's about love. Lots and lots of love. Giving and sharing love is what Christmas is all about. Merry Christmas!
And he's travelled a long way from the North Pole, but boy, oh boy, Santa, we are so glad to have you back in town, and I'm sure we're all dying to go and come and visit you in the Magic Cave, Kim.
Yes, it's been a magnificent day. I'll certainly be popping down there at the Magic Cave in David Jones. Over 350,000 people have lined the streets of Adelaide to witness the 2007 Credit Union Christmas Pageant. It's been a wonderful day. We look forward to the festive season, and we thank you for your company so much today.
We do. Merry Christmas, everyone.
At the end of his journey around the streets of Adelaide, Father Christmas and his helpers are making their way through David Jones to their home in the Magic Cave. It's the traditional home of Father Christmas in Adelaide, where children come to share the magic of Christmas. He'll be here until Christmas Eve. That's plenty of time to think about what to ask for this Christmas.
This special television event was brought to you by Channel 9 Adelaide, your pageant station.